Good evening. My name is Philip Auchettl. You can hear me okay? Beauty. I'm here with, if you can't understand me, that's a different story. I'm here tonight with RAD Lab. I'm going to be talking to you tonight about Courtyard, one of our most recent and one of our biggest projects. RAD Lab, we focus on taking temporary projects, looking at vacant property across the city, both public and privately owned, and how we can, very similar to what we just saw, how we can actually start activating it for a placeholder for future development. This actually all began while we were students over at New School of Architecture and Design. There I actually was interning with Teddy Cruz at that time. But during our thesis project, we really started looking around the city and started, we're at San Diego and we're in an urban city, and there's a lot of vacant property that is sitting there collecting trash and vagrancy, and we really just asked the question of A, why, and B, how can we start to resolve that? The thing was, I'll go on to the next one. So basically a big part of that for us that we started to understand was that due to the recession, both the city and privately owned people had pieces of property that they weren't yet ready to develop. They were basically looking at hanging on to and maybe looking at developing 5-10 years down the track, but what can we do with it for now? So what we actually did, we actually gave ourselves a little project. We went across a bunch of lots and lots of different vacant properties across the city, different neighbourhoods in Barrio Logan, North Park, downtown, East Village, and put up these big signs that said, "What do you want here?" And it was, to be honest, it was overwhelming with the amount of responses we received in just days. The boards actually filled up. We just had a couple Sharpies on there, and we got, we had some responses on there that were anything from a snake pit to a wrestling match to whatever. But overall, there was definitely a constant theme, and that was an outdoor space to gather and socialise. And that's what we really took away from that. This is actually a little project we do with a lot of our projects right before we do that. And what we find is that by putting that up there, the local community is engaging in the project to begin with before it's even up and before it's even built. And the community actually then takes a sense of pride in the project, a sense of ownership in the project before you even see anything happen. So what we find is that once it's actually built and once it's up and running, we've actually seen no graffiti, no vandalism. Some of these projects have been in somewhat sketchier areas, but I think just due to the fact that the community has actually taken that ownership has been really, really interesting. So from there, we actually began connecting the dots, understanding the benefits of urban density and infill of vacant space, such as creating walkability, bringing people out onto the streets, and what that can do for the community. While we were students still, we just started knocking on doors. We met with everyone we could. We banged on the mayor's door. We went to East Village Association, Civic San Diego, Downtown Partnership, and really just started pushing our idea as much as we could. And eventually the city listened to us, and we got everyone in a room together and said, all right, let's figure it out. And we really started putting together somewhat of a brand new, or somewhat of a new for San Diego, type of public-private partnership that hadn't been done before, where we looked at taking a piece of property from the city that was city-owned and activating it temporarily until a developer was ready to come in and start building. So the property we ended up selecting is on Market Street between 11th and G, actually just adjacent to where we went to school, so that was actually very convenient. But this, for us, we thought that this is very much a experimental project. So this is a space where we can make an impact, especially even a few years ago. This corner, Market Street and Park Boulevard, had been a problem corner for many years, according to with the police and with the local community, and it was sitting empty, and it was a sense of blight and a sense of unsafety within the community. So we graduated college. We're a bunch of poor students, so we had to start raising some money and at least start trying to get our idea out there. So we actually managed to raise $60,000 on Kickstarter in just 30 days. So that was pretty phenomenal for us. We needed $60,000. That was going to pay for the permitting process to get this thing moving, paying the city attorney fees, all that sort of fun stuff. But what we noticed from there was like, okay, we definitely have to do this now, because this was money given to us, actually donated to us from the surrounding area. So that was pretty phenomenal. I mean, all that money came from that area just saying, we want something to happen here. So we started to incorporate all the different things that people wanted in the area and started going from there. Being a temporary project, we started looking into cargo texture. So it's the use of shipping containers and how we can recycle shipping containers. There's an abundant amount of shipping containers across the country. So we looked at how we can use, obviously we're young architects, everything we want to be doing is sustainable. So the benefit of using shipping containers is that you can prefabricate them, they're modular, and you can actually ship them to and from site. So just a few shots of our building process. So actually one of the fun things we were able to do here was we were able to manufacture the shipping containers off-site once we actually got the land locked in. And then at the same time, simultaneously do all the groundwork, getting ready for the construction. So we're actually able to cut our time in half. So instead of your regular stick frame build, where you go in, you do the foundation work, and then you start building on top of that, we're actually able to do both of those simultaneously. So this has been really cool to see. So what we ended up putting in there was, again, it comes back to activating space. For us, we were looking at what we can do. We can't just keep building parks that are just grass and a couple trees. That doesn't necessarily attract the right people for a community space that you want to hang out there. You want a place where actually people want to hang out. So for us, it was about activating the space. How can you activate it first thing in the morning? You put in a coffee shop, where people can grab food, grab a coffee in the morning. You put in a food truck. So we have different food trucks, so it goes with the whole temporary aspect of the project. We have 2 to 3 food trucks at lunch. We have 2 to 3 food trucks at dinner. And then, of course, we have a big outdoor beer garden. We have the whole thing's local craft beer. There's nowhere in downtown where you can really do this sort of stuff. And again, we just used the existing lot, dropped off a bunch of shipping containers, cut holes in them, and serve beer, serve coffee. It's very simple, but it makes sense. And a dog park. There's downtown, I think there's more dogs running around than there are kids, let alone people. And it's ridiculous that there's nowhere for people to take them. And that's something the community's been wanting, and it's something they've been crying out for years, and the city's been promising them. So that's something we decided to put in the project. Another fun thing is too, we can do live music. We've been having a lot of fun sort of shows with local talent, getting out there and been doing a lot of free shows, and it's been really fun. So, cheers.